let me tell you guys. I don't think there's anything on Black and Sexy TV that I have not watched. From their full feature films to their very first movie they had out. I have watched every series. I don't, some series I've watched more than once, like Roomy Lover Friends and that guy. I don't think it's anything, I don't think there's anything that Black and Sexy TV has produced that I've not seen. Saying that to say that this episode of Sexless, for me, is by far the best thing I've ever watched on Black and Sexy TV. And I wouldn't even limit it to Black and Sexy TV. It's one of the best dramatic episodes I've seen in a while. The acting was just awesome. Writing, directing, producing, all of it was just fantastic. But yeah, this for me, hands down, this episode of Sexless, best thing I've ever watched on Black and Sexy TV. Hands down. The episode opens up with kind of a recap from the first half of this season, with a focus on Wendy's story and a focus on Noli's story. So with Wendy's story, you know, we have everything that was going on with her and Daryl and the eventual pregnancy and the abortion. And with Noli, we had everything that was going on with her and her whack husband, Brandon, and, you know, their separation and his ex-fiance. So it kind of brought us all up to speed quickly at the very beginning of what happened, because those two stories were the focus of this episode. The episode really kicks off with Wendy. She's alone. She's at home. She's in pain. She's crying. She's grimacing. She's bearing down to push through the pain. And that scene had my complete attention. The actress, she's just wonderful. She's just absolutely fantastic. And man, I felt so bad for Wendy because the pain was just so real of what she was going through. I had a couple of thoughts. One, with that being the first thing we kind of hit in the episode and just coming off of Chef Julian, it just made everything that happened on Chef Julian just seem like child's play. So, you know, that struck me. But then the way Wendy was in pain and the way she was bearing down and trying to push through this pain, I also had empathy for the situation, because although I've never had an abortion, I have lost a child less than a year now, an adult child who was killed by a drunk driver. And the way she was in that scene was very much how I was once or twice since our son was killed, when I was home alone by myself and I could give in to the pain and give in to the grief. I had to take a minute when I was watching that the first time around, because it was just a little too real. Back to the episode. So Wendy, she's showing us what she's literally going through, and I'm glad they did this with the scene, because it allowed us not to just see what she went through as something so simple like she just took a couple of pills and that was it, and then, you know, she's back trying to figure out what's up with Julian. No, it's way deeper than that, and this scene allowed us to see that. So Noli comes over in the true Noli kind of quirky way. She brought some food over to kind of take care and nurture Wendy. And, you know, and she mentioned when she was talking with Wendy, you know, about she was tired of, I think she said she was tired of sleeping by herself. And Wendy was like, huh? But she totally did not go there. And I was like, see, I like this girl because she's really a good friend. She put her stuff to the side in order to just take care of her friend. She knew her friend needed her right then, so she didn't even want to put her burdens right then and there on her. And when they were watching the Golden Girls, and yes, Noli is definitely a rose, and when she kissed Wendy on the forehead, I just thought that was sweet. Noli is a really, really good friend and a nurturing friend. But while she's over there, that other demon seed, Stacy, calls, who I just like Stacy. You know, I didn't like Stacy ever since she pulled that whole pro-life and sending pictures of baby feet, and I was just a lot. But anyway, she calls because she's trying to check up on Wendy, and Wendy's just like, I'm not here for it. I can't deal with her right now. So Noli kind of handled that situation by just putting her off until whenever. And she was able to just stay there and take care of her friend. So then next we have Noli. She's back home, and she's awakened by her cell phone. And when I first watched this episode, I was like, okay, well, why whatever happened on the cell phone, why would that make her go to the apartment that she used to stay in with Brandon? So I don't know if they had to, Black Executive TV had to go back in and re-edit. They realized they had missed it or whatever, because it did not have what I saw the last time I watched it, which was like the text messages from, I guess her professor saying he didn't have her paper or whatever. So that's why she went over to the apartment, and she almost ran into Cheryl. She still has the key. No one has changed any locks. So she let herself in so that she could find her flash drive that has her paper on it. So while she's there, getting her flash drive, and I'm sure she's thinking, let me get the hell out of here before that chick comes back, and just so I can be in and out. Well, we got old Brandon from the bedroom thinking that it's Cheryl, and asking her, why are you back so fast? Because, Cheryl, she's went on a coffee run for the two of them. And it's so funny because when he was calling out to Cheryl, did you guys notice that he had a British accent when he called out to her, and then when he started talking with Noli, he had an American accent? What's that about? He comes out of the bedroom. So needless to say, Noli is completely thrown by that. For one, you could tell she didn't even know he was even back in the country. Definitely was not expecting to see him in this apartment. And damn sure was not expecting to see him coming out of the bedroom in the apartment. So she confronted him about that. He all, like a bumbling idiot and stuttering over his words and like, what you mean? I mean, he in a nutshell, how Brandon responded to Noli is, although you just saw me come out of this bedroom, you didn't see what you saw. That's basically how stupid his responses were. They get into an argument. Brandon tries to explain that he's been actually paying the rent, even though the apartment is in her name. He's been paying. And I'm like, okay, that is just like so not the only issue at this point. I mean, keep in mind all the things that this dude has done, right? He's given her wedding ring belonged to the ex-fiance. He moved her into the apartment that was actually being paid for by the ex-fiance. I don't care what he says now. Her name is on the lease, and according to the office, they're getting payments from her. So whatever, some backroom arrangement they have, maybe, whatever that is, please, boy, bye. And then he's still dealing with this chick, and he's just a liar. He's just a liar. So when her daddy beat his ass, he should have. Then you got beat by an old man, so you should have gotten beaten there again. Noli was like persistent. She was demanding, why were you still talking to her? And he pulled that crap about, do I ask you about all of your exes? And Noli's like, I'm not asking you about all of your exes. I'm asking you about this one that you continue talking to. She could have went on and said, this one whose ring you gave to me for my wedding ring. This one whose name is still on this apartment, and according to the leasing officer, she's still paying the bill. This one, I'm asking you about this one. How could you not tell me about her? And he went on and stumbling all over his words again, talking about it's complicated. And then he also said it was a necessity. What do you mean? Noli tells Brandon that she wants a divorce. And he's like, no, don't say it. Don't say it. Shh. Don't say it. She's like, I'm saying it. I want a divorce. And she said that before. Here comes old girl Cheryl. Here she comes. Cheryl or Cheryl? Whichever one. Here she comes. Okay. So here she comes with the 2 cups of coffee, all smug and arrogant and, smirking and talking about, oh my, what do we have here? And all this foolishness. And so Brandon's like, please tell her that I have been paying the rent. And so this woman says, yes, he's been paying the rent, but you shouldn't be worrying about that. You should be asking, how was he able to pay the rent? So then she goes on to tell Noli that if it wasn't for her, he wouldn't have had the job he had over in London. And so that, I think, was just like, if Noli had not reached her end by that time, she was just dumbfounded. Just more lies after lie after lie after lie. It's like, it's no end with this guy. I mean, they're not like little lies. It's just like, just another thing he didn't tell her. So she was done. She was over it. She scared him for sure by how she reacted to him when she was angry. All props to Noli. Noli did not flip on the girl Cheryl. She did not cuss her out. She did not try to drag her by her hair. She didn't call her any kind of bitches or anything like that. I'm giving her props for that because she dealt with who needed to be dealt with, and that's her husband. Although if she had went off on Cheryl, I would have been okay with that too, because she was a little too smug and arrogant and all of that. So if she had put her hands on her, I still would have been good with it. A couple of other things I want to call out in this episode. Noli's hair, loved it. The highlights, everything, loved her hair. I also want to compliment the actress who plays Noli. It was just great acting. She did a great job. And the music, y'all. The music for this episode was amazing. Thank you again, Black and Sexy TV 2, for always bringing us great music. I cannot wait until the next episode. We saw a snapshot of the next episode, and here we got Stacy, okay, who's talking to another white dude and complaining about how black guys don't like her. Because she said it wasn't that she didn't like black guys, it was just that the type of black guys that she like, those type don't like her. And so the guy she was with said, well, what type of black guy are you talking about? And she's like, well, for first off, he needs to have a good paying job. So Stacey, you just not gonna let me like you, are you, Stacey? I mean, now it's not many of us who's gonna be anti anybody having a job, but y'all know what I'm saying, right? It's like she's slamming her own, like that stereotype, like brothers not working or whatever. Stacy, I'm not gonna like Stacy. I already know it. I'm not gonna like Stacy for this second half of the season. I'm not gonna like that helpful. I already know.